If an ISA can help them make the 100, 200, 300 calls, talk to the 20, 30, 40, 50 people that don't want to talk to you to get to the one person that is willing to talk to you, that's the game. Okay, that is the trade-off when we're talking about cold caller ISA, right? All right, folks, we are back. I got a really good one for you guys today. We've got the one and only Chris Pulido from the Power ISA sales team. Chris runs our Power ISA sales team here for the company, talking to agents. But before that, he was an all-star ISA for what was it? The largest team in California by volume or by unit count. One of the biggest team in California, which is pretty big. Got to be pretty big if you're in California, which is basically the size of its own country, and you're the number one real estate team. So pretty cool. So Chris, knows his way around real estate, scripting, leads, and we got a good topic today, guys. We've got really simple, the cold caller ISA, the cold caller ISA. So Chris, you talk to agents every day. What do people want when they hear, the cold caller ISA? What is their need? What do they want? What is it they're looking for? Go for it.
Man, no joke. Right now, what we're seeing, it's a little bit crazy because, I mean, if the market is shifting, it's crazy. Like, cause I talk to a lot of folks every day because I not only cold call, I get the leads. I tell folks, look, there's a bunch of leads that Gus generates on Facebook. He generates pretty much leads for us. On top of this, he keeps us busy as well with cold calling. Like, these are the same exact things that you need in pretty much your system to get
We do the
results.
same thing. We got referral recommendation, we got
Yep.
online internet leads, and we do cold call, cold prospect. The exact same things we tell our clients to do. So we don't just, walk the walk. We talk the talk. Well, actually, the other way. We don't just talk the talk. We walk the walk as well. Because any business that has three main sources, is going to withstand any kind of market shift, right?
I've seen that those are the three main pillars. Even back when I was in ISA, the agent that I was working with, like, well, more, excuse me, broker that I was working with, like the guy had everything. Like he had referrals, he had Sphere. Like that's why I tell folks, like cold calling is one of those main pillars. And if you're not doing it, man, and even if there's a ton of people saying, oh, there's gonna get stricter laws, it's not gonna be that easy to do. There's always gonna be cold calling. I feel like that's like the bread and butter of any type of sales industry out there.
Yeah, 100%. And Chris, I mean, and I don't want to lie, it was easier 7, 8 years ago when we started the company. It was a lot
Yeah.
easier to cold call back then. You didn't need this software that kept you on the whitelist. You didn't need this anti-spam technology. Now you do. If you don't use the right technology, you're not going to talk to anybody if you're doing a lot of cold calling, which is why a lot of agents get frustrated with cold calling. Like they don't talk to anybody.
Yeah.
It goes nowhere. Like they don't. And here's the even better thing, even if they're having success doing cold calling, and if I call anybody out, you guys feel triggered, this is coming from love. You stop doing it as soon as you can. Now, don't lie, agents, don't lie. As soon as you start getting some traction with that outbound calling, with that cold calling, you get busy with deals and you stop making those calls as soon as you can. So I'm here to give you the good
Facts.
news. Yeah, I know, man. It's just being true. Calling it like it is. I'm telling you like it is right now, right? So, because what this is, even our biggest success stories, like Manar, Josh Sayer, Stephen Gray, they don't love cold calling. Let's just be honest. They don't love cold calling. But if an ISA can help them make the 100, 200, 300 calls, talk to the 20, 30, 40, 50 people that don't want to talk to you to get to the one person that is willing to talk to you, that's the game. Okay, that is the trade-off when we're talking about cold caller ISA, right?
Those are facts right there. The reason I say this is because again, I used to be in a team. I understand like agents' time is way better spent talking to more qualified appointments. See, that's the thing. It's not just you're talking to folks that are sometimes 3 to 6 months out to close to a year. Why not have the ISA do some of that heavy lifting? So that way you're basically just showing up on appointments. And I tell you, just look, honestly, if you're gonna get an ISA, it's not so you can stop. If anything, it's to do more. And if you're gonna stop, you need to have something on the back end, like keeping the ISA busy, not only with cold calls, but I feel like Also with inbounds, it's like a sort of love-hate thing that I have for inbounds. But I see cold calling, honestly, for the seller side of things is the only way to get listings, like only way. And it's so easy. Like you literally have listings. So if you have listings, you should call around those neighborhoods. Like they know who you are. They see the banners, they see the posters, they see the open houses. I mean, come on, like there's so much hidden gold there. It's just waiting for to be picked. Worst part is other agents do it with their listings. So it's like you're losing so much traction there.
100%. So, and I am a big believer in like the fact that, hey, every listing should generate one or two more transactions for you, right?
Yeah.
You've got to squeeze that listing for every single thing that it's worth. Potential buyers, potential sellers too. People might miss that. A listing can help you generate another listing if if you're willing to work that neighborhood, right? If you're willing to door knock it, that's great. If you're willing to do open houses there, that's great. But at some point, if you really want to squeeze every listing out of each of your listings, you got to pick up the phone and call those neighbors. Why? Because you got a really good reason to call them. Hey, I just sold a home
Yeah.
in your neighborhood. Hey, I had 5 offers, 3 of them over asking. I got some really disappointed buyers
That's it.
that want another property. Okay. And I got their name, email, phone number right in front of me. I'm just looking for another property to sell. Who do you know that might be thinking of moving in the next few months? Anyone you might know, Mr. Seller? No one? How about yourself? Have you ever thought of relocating, getting something bigger, getting something smaller? That's like the simplest, circle prospect, just list. That's a just sold. That's my personal favorite, is the one I had the most success with as an agent, was just sold. It was, and I don't know, Chris, if that's just a better script, or just as importantly, I felt more confident saying that script. I'm not sure. It might be both. Who knows? I just know that just saying
Yeah.
that just sold, I have 3 buyers left over that want another property just like yours. Would you be willing to have a conversation about that? A lot of people, number one, they won't hang up on you if you say that,
No.
right? They're like, oh,
Heck no.
wait, what? Tell me more. People want to, they just want to know. They want to know more information. And if they're willing to listen to you just a little bit longer, that's the game. Keeping them on the
Yeah.
phone. If they haven't hung up on you, haven't said no yet, haven't said remove me from your list yet, there's a conversation to be had. And when that conversation is a worthwhile one, it's a qualified seller, motivation to sell, confirmed contact information, confirmed homeowner, they should talk to the agent. That's the next step.
It
That's the
is.
next step. Have a conversation with my agent. Talk to my agent, Gus. He's amazing. He can tell you everything you need to know about getting your home ready to sell. Oh, but I'm like 6 months out. Perfect. We love working with people that are just getting started. That's how we can add the most value, Mr. Seller. Oh, really? Yeah, great. I'll have him introduce himself tomorrow. I'll come give you a call tomorrow. For these leads that are very, very up and high in the funnel, just getting started,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even bother booking an appointment with them, right? It's too easy to ignore. It's too easy to forget. I'll have Gus give you a call tomorrow to introduce himself and tell you what he can do when the time is right to get your home ready to sell. Does that make sense? Great. That's good.
People don't
That's
know that.
good.
People don't know that. And they don't know. Worst part is this. I talk to agents and they're just like, yeah, I want cold calling. I'm like, okay, well, do you have already a source like Vulcan 7, Redix Vortex, Cold Realty, Land Voice, any of those? And they don't even know sometimes even where to start. I usually tell them, well, you should check with your brokerage because they actually sometimes provide these leads for you for free. So
100%.
again, we're not
Like
trying to break the
Remind.
bank. Yes.
I want to say it's free, but you're already paying for it. How about that, right? Your MLS dues are going to pay for Remind. That you should start there. If you've already have leads like a system like Remind, start there. And Brandon Morenitz is the same thing. If you have Remind, use Remind. Like it's right there standing in front of you. Depending on what results you get from that, then you decide, do you want to move up to get a bigger and badder lead source or not, right? I think you should definitely just pick up the phone and get started. And an ISA just makes it that much easier.
Oh yeah, and not to mention, what I tell agents, look, honestly, what I pitch them on is not really value. Like a lot of folks, when I'm on the call with them, they're like, "Oh, you're trying to pitch me on value." I don't call this value. I call these safety features. These are some of the things that we've actually seen throughout the years where sometimes agents fall through. These are there in play to make sure that doesn't happen.
100%. You're making sure no lead left behind, no listing underappreciated. You got to market the hell out of that listing, not just to get it sold. You're marketing that listing to get other listings. to get other buyers, to get other transactions. And Chris, I mean, cold caller ISA, let's also be honest with folks. This is a seller lead generation activity. That's what you're
Yeah.
shooting for. You can get both buyers and sellers. I'm not saying you can't. You probably get both. No problem. Double-legging a deal is not a
Yeah.
problem. That's not a bad thing. Or you'll find renters. Fine. I tell people, have the conversation. You already got them.
Or refer it out. Hello, Gus, can you hear me? I think your mic went out.
Mic right now.
There you go.
Hello, hello. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, my mic died. What happened? So, where did I stop? I was on a roll right there, man. What happened?
You were basically it was just cut off just a tad bit. You were talking about basically if they you a little more to the topic of the Remind, like if they use Remind, they're on
Oh,
Remind.
100%. And you're using these lead sources because cold calling is primarily a seller lead generation activity. That's the main focus of it, right? So, and you can get buyers, like we said, you can get buyers for sure, but it's primarily a seller focused activity. Why is that important? There's a little bit of news that came out last Friday. People might know this, people might not. You might have not heard this. There's a big change coming to the industry, right?
Oh yeah.
There's going to be
Oh.
commission compression. I'm not going to, people are throwing this out of proportion. Oh, commissions are
Yeah.
over, buyer agents are over. I don't think
It
any of
will.
that's true. I don't think any of that's true. But commission compression is real. I think that is going to happen. It's going to get harder to get paid as a buyer's agent. The best are going to survive and they're going to thrive. The people that are on the wayside, just barely hanging on to
Or
buyers, are not going
part-time,
to do well. Or part timers,
part-timers.
you're not going to do well. You're not going to do well. But now is as good a time as ever to refocus on listings. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Now is as good a time as any, as ever, to refocus on listings. And outbound prospecting is primarily a listing focused activity. And one
Oh yeah.
listing can get you another listing, can get you another listing, so on and so forth. So I think I look at as a cold caller ISA is a way to do that. If you have a strategy to generate more listings, you should consider a cold caller ISA.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And what's crazy, like as well as the market is shifting, and then all these folks like they told me, they like, oh Chris, what do you think? What have you guys seen? Like honestly, I'm seeing a ton of agents having a really good start to the year, and not to mention. I mean, I'm not going to mention his name, but he did promise me a testimonial. There's actually someone that we actually generated leads for as well, and the guy already closed two, got three under the belt off the lead generation, and I was like, man, like I'm not seeing the market go down at all whatsoever. If anything, it's like, holy cow, this is way better than 2023. This is like from the
Oh
start of the
yeah,
year, way better, way
that
better.
that it depends what you compare against, right? I think this is going to be a typical regular year in real estate, which means
Yeah,
it's going to be way better than 2023, like
yeah,
way better than 23, right? I think we're going to go back to normal when it comes to the market. I don't know what's going to happen with interest rates. I don't know what's going to happen with price. I don't know any of that. I just know what the data tells me, which is sales are up from last year. Sales are up.
exactly.
It's not that hard to do. It's not that hard to do. 10 to 15% increase. I wouldn't mind that. It would put us right back to normal. Not even a crazy, super accelerated market. It would put us right back to kind of where we should be in a market like this, right? Which means we're going to see more sales this year. If interest rates go down the way people are expecting them to by the end of the year, I think that's only going to increase the demand, right, for real
Yeah,
estate right now, right? So I believe it 100%. If you want to take advantage of that, because that's the macro, Chris. That's like
yeah,
the macro economy, and I always think agents should have their eye on that, like one eye on it for sure. They should know what's going on. But on the other hand, I almost wish agents didn't know about that, right? I almost wish they
true.
didn't know about it because if the market's not doing great, they can get discouraged and they can stop doing what can make them successful. And that really bugs me. When people look at
Yeah,
the macro economy and go, oh, I'm not going to make my calls. Like, what's the point? I'm like, that really bugs me. That really gets me. You
it
should be
got to.
making more calls. Okay. If you're seeing the macro economy not looking great, you shouldn't be doing less calls. You should be
Uh,
doing more calls. because it takes more calls, more leads, more appointments just to keep you where you are. When the market is shaky, the market's not doing well. I don't think we're in that market right now, quite frankly. The first quarter is almost in the books, man. We're 10 days from the first quarter just being done, the first 3 months of the year. And everything is looking like it is going to be a bounce back year for real estate. Even more reason to double down on what's going to help you grow your business, not just this year, but in the future, which is focusing on listings, focusing on prospecting.
I agree with that 100%. But I usually tell folks, look, honestly, right now, like what we're seeing is something completely different from what you're hearing. I tell them, look, you need to really just double down on your business. Double down on your business. You got to double down on your business because I like how you said it. It's true. If you're seeing that your boat's sinking a tad bit, you're not gonna just, oh well, it's already gonna sink.
Throw
You're
up
gonna
your
try to.
arms. What can you do?
No,
Interest rates are at whatever percent.
that doesn't
What can
matter.
you do, right? Man, I mean, interest rates hit 8% in October, and we still sold almost 4 million homes last year. Like, what does that tell you, right? In the worst market of this century, 2008, 2009, we still sold 4 million homes in this country. Okay, so I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, things are terrible. 4 million homes. Things are normal. 5 million homes. That's it. I mean that's the. I don't know
That's
what else you want to see. That's the difference. If you make that the reason that you're not going to be successful as an agent, I think you're going to fail. If you
yeah.
do the opposite, Chris, which is double down on what works for you, right? Pick up the phone, call your database, call those leads, do some cold calls. If you do that, you have the ability to grow your market share. Okay. You have the ability not just to survive, but to thrive in that kind of a shifting market. So it's something that I'm very passionate about because I always believed it. And over the last 18 months, I saw it play out. I
Yeah.
saw it, right? I 100% saw it play out. I have a great example from last year, man. This is crazy good. Agent hires us for ISA, for Facebook ads, the whole thing, right? And I immediately noticed that, hey, so I mean, how'd you, because their main source of business has been a database. How many deals did you get from a database last year? 20 deals. How many have you gotten from a database this year? 3 deals. This was last year, 2020. This was like end of summer 2023. How many deals have we gotten this year? 3 deals. And I'm like, okay, that's not good.
Heck
So
no.
tell me how have you normally work your database? And she said, oh, posting on social, meeting people, that kind of thing. Have you ever called people in your database? Well, not really. Well, then let's stop it. I literally stopped the project. I said, we're not going to hire your ISA. We're not going to turn your ads. You're going to run out of funds. You're not going to do it enough time. You need to generate some business on your database, number one. I'd never done that before, by the way. I had never disagreed with an agent on what to do first until that time. I saw a huge opportunity in front of me. So this is going to be a home run. This is going to be like a case study. She made her database. It was like September 1st, let's say. She made her first client event ever. I think September 19th. So she made the database, did the event, had it. I think
Word.
38 people attended her. She had like a buyer class, did a class. I told her to do it on Zoom. She did it in person at a restaurant. A lender paid for dinner for everybody. Not bad. Not for your first event.
Really
I was kind of like, wow, that's a lot. So 38 people attended. 70 people said they would go. 38 attended. Not bad. That's normal. It's not too bad.
Yeah.
She had, by the end of December, $20,000 in commission from that one event. How long did that take to do? I don't know, man. 5 hours of work, maybe
Yeah,
10.
if anything. Yeah.
That's $2,000 an hour, $2,000 to $4,000 an hour of doing that work. So what happened first of the year? Now she's got money for Facebook. Now she's got money for the
Oh,
now
I
everything's
bet.
solved. Everything's solved. That is the driver of your business. So when I tell folks that when things get rough, you got to double down on what works. That's what I mean. Like a lot of agents, I mean, let's be honest, we grew fat during the pandemic years, right? Booming market in 2020. 21 was
Yeah.
amazing, like
Oh, yeah.
out of this world. 22 was still really good. And 23 was the reckoning, right? I was like, hold on. Like the music's got to stop at some point, right? So for a lot of agents, that was a tough year. This year is going to be different. Okay. This year is going to be different. We're already seeing it. I'm not predicting here. I'm literally telling you what's happening right now. This is not my crystal ball. This is me telling you what the numbers indicate so far. Okay. So far, the first 2 months, 2.5 months of the year, that it's going to be a better year than 2023. That's all you need to know. Like it almost doesn't matter, what the rest of of those numbers mean. I'm just telling you, you have permission to be positive, right? Because the market is better than it was last year. Your
True.
ISA should be
Very true.
calling those neighborhoods, calling, and well, actually, I'm going to talk to you about lead sources, but you're making those calls and giving people the good news. They should be giving people the good news of what's happening in 2024. A lot of pressure on interest rates to finally come down. A lot of people that have been on the fence in 23,
True. Very true.
and they're not going to wait forever to get that property. They're going to jump into the market this year. So I think you want to be listed, you want to be on the market and catch some of that wave. So, Chris, question for you though. What are some of the best lead sources that you've seen work for our clients in the last 3 months, last 6 months? What's working right now? I've got a few ideas myself.
Well, no joke. So, because I have colleagues that are working right now as cold callers, typically, and a lot of people tell me, like, how much do those go for? Well, honestly, their experience, they know their worth. Typically, those guys are anywhere from like the 8 to 12, 8 to 10, excuse me, range. And one of them that's actually in the 10 range, he's literally telling me right now that they were using Mojo. I used Mojo back in the day for quite some time.
People are
And
still using it.
yeah,
It's number one. It's number
right?
one.
But he said, okay, Mojo is good. The only thing is my number gets marked as spam. And he says, I make a ton of dials, but I don't have many conversations. He said, however, we switched it up to Vulcan and ZBuyer, and it's working really good because again, this person that I'm telling you guys, he's he when he actually gets an agent, he tells them some of the experiences he had with other lead sources. The agent purchased some of those, and they start seeing results quite quickly. His favorite again is ZBuyer and
Z-buyer
Vulcan
seller
7.
leads. Z-buyer seller
Z-Buyer
leads. Let's
seller leads.
clarify, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's be very clear on that. Z-Buyer seller leads. I honestly, they never worked for me when I was in ISA, but he says that it's because now the data accuracy is a lot better. And on top of this, they give you more numbers than back then when it was just like one or two. Now it has like three, four, five numbers. But he says he calls all of them regularly, or once they hit the little platform that they give you to where the leads drop in. And once they hit, he's basically calling them, does a little filter. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. And I told him, me and Gus are working on a case study to really perfect cold calling by literally using a phone. I didn't, mention much, but I mean, literally, the guy is just waiting for us to post that case study. And I told him, just give it some time, man. We want to get real numbers because I don't think folks know that we actually really do the walk. We have a team, we have a cold calling team, we have an inbound team. We basically have them make calls. We know the numbers. That's why when we see there's something shifting in the market, we'll let you guys know. And if we're seeing that everything is being turned out great, I mean, we're not trying to sell you guys. Like, we literally are not trying to sell you guys. This is what we're seeing because we see that, there's a lot of movement, there's a lot of homes being sold, appointments being set. So, in my personal opinion, because I get to see as well as with you guys, we see the numbers of the agents on the back end. Like they're killing it. That's why we're getting a case study every single week. These are folks that, if you made it this far to the video, make sure to go on our YouTube channel and check out some of those testimonials. Reach out to those folks. They'll tell you the type of results they got at the beginning, towards the middle, and when they're currently at now.
Yeah, 100%, right? Could not agree more. I like that, you're getting some information from people that are in the trenches, right?
Yeah.
This is not what you or I
Yes.
would like
Yeah.
to believe. This is not
No.
what this is not what, our affiliate partners are there. I mean, come on. Right? Mojo doesn't even do affiliates, just so you guys know. Mojo
Yeah.
doesn't, and we don't care. We still we use Mojo because it works, because it's very easy to set up and people are calling within an hour. Right. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
that's why we like Mojo. I think we're big about Mojo. Z-Buyer, that's great. One of the things that I've heard, let me rephrase this. The most common lead sources that I see from ISAs that are getting great, great, great results, and I'm talking about signed listings within 30 days, within 60 days. I think that's a great result. I think that's a home run when you're already getting signed listings within the first few weeks. The lead sources that they're calling are typically going to be older expireds. That is a great lead source because it can be a very high converting lead source. And once these expireds age out a little bit, right? Because a lot of them are going to list within the first 30 days, no doubt.
No.
A good chunk of them will. But the
Yeah.
majority of them are going to list within the next 9 months. Okay. The majority of them, and some even further out than that, right? Because put yourself in their shoes. If I go all the way back to the summer of 2022, the market was going nuts in the summer of 2022. It was the peak. It ended up being, we didn't know it at the time. It ended up being the peak of the big sellers market in the US, right? So what happened after that? Some people tried to sell and they tried to get those prices that they've been seeing for the last 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, and they weren't able to. A lot of people ran into that. Okay. End of 2022, the first half of 2023, and some people even the second half of 2023. So
That's
you should be
facts.
calling those people and giving them the good news, especially if things are looking up in your market, which a lot of markets are this year. Okay. You should be calling them up and give them the good news. The main question your ISA should ask, this is it for them. Hey, I know your house was on the market a little while ago, might have been years ago. I just want to ask you if we could get you a great offer from a qualified buyer, would you still sell the property? I'm just curious. If you
That
would have
kills
sold
them.
last time, what was your plan? Where would you have gone if you would have sold the first time? Oh, I got you, got you. Well, if we can make that happen right now with a qualified buyer, getting you probably more than you think in this market, because the market's going up this year,
Yeah.
would you still sell? I'm just curious about that. And if they don't hang up on you and they don't shoot you down after that, that's a conversation you should have, right? And I'm not gonna lie, it can take 15, 20, 25 of those old expired conversations to get you one qualified one. Confirmed homeowner, confirmed contact information, desire or curiosity about selling. Well, how much could I get for my home right now? What do you think? Right? How fast could I sell it? Well, tell me more. What would you do differently than what my last agent did? That's a great question for my agent, right? Well, let me have him give you a call today, introduce himself, and show you what he can do to get your home sold for more money in less time. Okay, great. Boom, bye. It's basically it, man. It's not rocket science, right? Because expireds can be tough. Expired sellers can be very, very, they can throw out some really big curveballs for you, right? Where were you guys, because everyone calls them the first few
Yeah.
hours, right?
Oh
Where
man.
were all you guys when my home was on the market? Why? I can't even tell the difference between you guys. That's tough those first few days. Most people, Chris, they're getting 30 calls an hour in a lot of these
If
markets.
anything.
They're turning off their phone, man. They're not taking, if you didn't talk to them the first 10, 20 minutes, you're not talking to them at all, at all. They're just shutting it down. There's too many people reaching out. But what happens 3 months later, 60 days later, 100 days later, right?
Yeah.
I mean, things have calmed down, right? Let's be honest. People are not going to reach out that intensely for very long. And if they still have any motivation to sell, you want to know. You want to reach out to them. And if they don't pick up the phone right away, a great text message, a great voicemail is, hey, I'm just curious. Are you still accepting offers on your property? Just ask that question. That's all you should ask. Text message or voicemail. Just ask the question. See what they say. Okay, that'll get your response. So I'm really liking the old expires. In some markets, they've got thousands of them, and some of them are just going to have hundreds of them. Reach out. Have your ISA give them a call. It's a call that most agents aren't making, Chris. They're just not
They're
making
not.
those calls. They're not, right?
I had a
Forget about
conversation, man. No,
18
forget
months
it.
ago. 18 months ago, no, they're not going to make those calls. Your ISA can make those calls. That's what I really like old expireds.
No, you're right, man. I kid you not. There's a couple of agents that tell me I have a ton of old expireds, and in my mind, I'm like, okay, why haven't you called them? Like, what's stopping you from calling them? And they're like, I'm busy. And that's what I'm seeing. Like, literally right now, when typically when we have no shows, we're giving at least 3 to 4 calls to those leads, right? And not mentioning the text messages, the emails that come after. I mean, we want to talk to you. So when we're reaching out, trying to make contact and everything, there's been a lot of no shows. And what we do is, again, we call them relentlessly, like, and we love to hear that it's not just because, oh, they forgot about the appointment. It's like, I'm busy, man. I'm literally on the road. Can you do this by a phone call? We normally don't like doing phone calls, but hey, if you are on the go, we understand agents are always on the go. Let's do it on a phone call. Sometimes they'll just put their phone, they'll hang it on there. They'll basically be driving, putting it on the Bluetooth, and then we're just basically talking to them back and forth. We love to see that, right? They're on the go, they're on the move. Some of them are going to appointment because see, that's the thing. We're not just trying to get you with someone that's just gonna call the lead, set up an appointment, and that's it. That's not how it works. Again, this is
Oh,
a
I wish it
sales
did.
caller.
I
Yeah,
wish it did. Like, give him a call, book the appointment. We're good to go. Like,
and
come
we're
on.
out.
And we're, yeah, boom, 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 done. I mean, come on, man. Yeah. First of all, how many calls does it take to get them on the phone? Number one, problem number one, right?
Yeah,
Number two,
not to mention.
qualify them. Are they even someone you should spend any time on, right? Is there any motivation to sell? Is there any curiosity to sell, right? Are they a confirmed homeowner, confirmed contact information? That should go to the agent. They should throw it over the wall, put it in your pipeline so you always have potential sellers to call every single day. Every single day, there should be new people in your pipeline, and you should be doing those follow-up calls to everyone that's already there.
I agree. I agree. And people, that's why sometimes when they call me, I feel like they think this is like all those other companies where like I tell them, I tell like the agents, like, look, this isn't like any other company out there. And I'm not trying to brag or anything or toot my horn more than I'm supposed to, but it's just my CEO is super proactive. He is hands-on. If you go to other companies, you will just, that's just the face to the company. He's not doing much of, he has other people doing it, running the business. Here it's different. Like I'm partaking in this. My CEO is partaking in this. My team in the back end is partaking in this. And like, I can't believe a lot of things are changing. And it's like, we're even bringing that service, a blast from the past. Everybody's asking for it. I'm literally on here with you. And I'm pretty sure you guys can see on my glasses here, like emails are coming in and they're like, hey, Chris, I'm ready to get started. Because some folks don't have the time to do this. And it's like, okay, what are you waiting for? Like, if this is able to get, if with an ISA, we're able to get you 5 closed deals, just 5 in the whole year. That's not even a deal a month. I'm just saying 5. The GCI in certain areas, you and I both know, could be anywhere from like 5, maybe 7K on average. You even put it at 5, that's 25K. You paid for the ISA, our whole service. And again, this is not just like, here's the ISA.
Multiples of ROI.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
That's what I'm like,
Chris, the average price in the US is 400,000. So 7K in commission
imagine.
is pretty conservative, pretty conservative. It's below average.
Yeah.
It's below average. It's not average. Because in some of these markets, commissions can be way higher than that. Way higher than
Oh,
that. So
yeah.
I think a good goal for an ISA is giving you an additional transaction a month, right? An additional transaction a month per ISA is going to give you 10 times, at least 10 times ROI. At least 10 times
That's
ROI, right?
simple.
So, I mean, from there on upward, if you're in one of these higher price markets, it's going to be even higher than that. So, anyways, in summary, if you haven't done this already, you should check out the Cold Caller ISA. You should get them calling the most effective lists for them, which are going to be, it starts with the list you're not even calling yourself.
Yeah.
That's where it should start, right? You should be doing the highest value calls available, and everything else should be handed off to your ISA. All right. Awesome. Chris, thanks again for having us in here. Great having
Thanks for
you
having me.
on the show again, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.